we're speaking boldly and we're being declarative over here, okay? So whatever goal you have, I am challenge you to speak it with more certainty and declare it boldly. This is indie. This is independent filmmaking, so I have to figure out how that's gonna come about. Well, I don't have to figure it out. I leave that to God. Um, and I do my part, and I know that God will handle the other side, right? And it's gonna work out, and I'm gonna bring you along with me, and we're gonna see what happens. So, hello, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Diana and I'm a writer and a filmmaker. In today's video, I wanted to share with you my plan for the next 3 years. So I'm going to direct my first feature film in summer 2028, and I want to bring you along that journey. This is something that I decided to make a change with what I post on social media. I decided to make this change literally yesterday, because I realized that I have been posting things on Instagram, TikTok, on my YouTube to document my journey, but I haven't been specific about my goals with you guys. And I realized that I've been clear on my end on my goals. I've been crystal clear on this goal of mine to direct my first narrative feature film by summer 2028. I always knew that. I had this goal, this specific goal, I think for the past year, I would say. And by the way, I'm filming this no script, just sharing my thoughts with you. It's 4:30 a.m. I have work in a little bit. I work full time in hospitality. I work in food service. I'm a barista, and so that's why I'm up super early. I have super early shifts, and I just felt called to make a video just off off the top of my head, because I have limited time and I want to just like sit down and chit chat and catch up with you. I have limited free time, let me tell you. It's very challenging to work full time and also be an artist. And what I mean by that, it's challenging to work a full time day job that is not related to your artistry. It can be very draining. I'm very grateful for my day job and everything it gives me, the stability it gives me, the different perspectives it gives me, because as you can imagine, when you work in customer service, you come across many different types of people. So I see my day job as a sort of vessel that holds me in the hours that I can't work on my art. And when I'm in my day job, I see it as a vessel because I see it as a kind of a course, right? A course in learning about other people, how to work with other people, and how to learn skills like patience and and control over my emotions, right? Things like that. I learn so many valuable things when I'm in my day job, so I really appreciate it. But I also know that I feel very drained a lot and I have very limited free time to myself. So I decided to sit down and make this video now because I don't have to leave for work just yet. I do have some time because I got ready quicker than I thought I would. So I was like, okay, I have this space of time in my morning. Let me sit down and communicate with my people. So anyway, I wanted to be more specific about my goal to make to shoot my first feature narrative film in summer of 2028. I want to be more specific with you about my timeline and what I'm doing, what I'm up to in my life related to my filmmaking career and my artist career. And I think this is going to give you guys more context because I realized, like, yes, it's clear on my end. I was keeping these things very private because I thought, oh, I don't want to. What if it doesn't happen? I don't want to jinx it. But no, we're speaking boldly and we're being declarative over here, okay? So, whatever goal you have, I am challenge you to speak it with more certainty and declare it boldly, because that's something I'm still stepping into. And I realize like nothing is going to change if I don't own up to my artist identity. I think if you're an artist, you can relate to this, but I feel like in my life, I've had to kind of uncover who I am. And now in my mid 20s, I'm 24, I'm turning 25 next year. Like, I'm at this point, I've been involved in my artist journey for a few years now, where I realized, like, wait, this is what I want to do full time. I just want to be an artist all the time. This is my life purpose. You know what I mean? Where I realized, like, okay, this is kind of who I am. And I was kind of uncovering, like, I've always been an artist. I've always been a writer growing up. I've always journaled all the time, wrote stories, plays, all of that. And then I took a screenwriting class when I was in high school, and it changed my life because I realized, like, wait, this is what I want to do. Like, it clicked. Something didn't click before, but it clicked when I was in my senior year of high school, and I took a screenwriting class for the first time and did screenwriting for the first time ever. And then I went into college and I was like, I'm definitely going to major in film. Like, there was no other way. And I kind of hesitated with my path for a long time, to be honest, because I was like, no, I went back and forth because I didn't have skills in filmmaking. I had no technical skills when I was going into college in the film major. I had some screenwriting experience from my previous class that I had taken in high school, but editing, shooting with the camera, using equipment. Even now, I still have, I feel, a limited range of the technical side. But then I realized, like, that's learnable. I can learn it, and I can just um, embrace it with a learning mindset and just embrace, like, okay, there's things I don't know, and that's fine. This is a learning process. And also, I have different skills too. Like, I have a lot of ideas. I love writing. I love directing. I love delegating. I love leadership, right? Um, I just really love it, and I love planning. So I have these other different skills. And so, anyway, back to being into my artist identity and stepping into that artist archetype fully, right? I feel like I've struggled with that and I didn't really know, but recently I've had different experiences where I realized, like, I'm not owning up to who I am, and I'm not portraying that to the world through my social media, because that's what I'm supposed to do. On my social media, I say that I document my life as a writer and a filmmaker, but I'm not really showing you the nitty gritty. I'm not really being honest about my goals with you out of fear that I'll fail and that I'll fail publicly, fear of looking stupid, right? But then I'm like, no, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna proclaim, like, this is what is gonna happen, and I'm gonna share my journey with you in hopes that this inspires you. If you have a creative goal, but you need someone, an accountability partner, I'm your girl. If you need someone to help you keep on track, I'm your girl. And we're gonna do it the divine feminine way. Divine femininity, and like, I don't know. It's such an important facet of my life and how I navigate things, and just stepping into and embracing my femininity, embracing sensitivity, embracing softness, right? And like expressing your feelings. I think that in filmmaking, that's not as, like, I struggled with integrating my personal, how I approach things with how fast paced and tough it can be for sensitive people. I'm a sensitive person, and I embrace that, and I learned to love that about myself as I grew older and became an adult. I learned that that's a superpower, being sensitive and looking out for others, caring about others, and being a caring leader, especially when I'm directing on set, is my superpower. I made a short film and it's coming out, my first narrative short film. So in the past, I made a short documentary that was my college thesis film. And then I graduated from college in 2024. And then I made my first narrative short film, and I shot it in December 2024 with an amazing team. I brought a team together. I cast actors, all of that. And it was so fun. And it's coming out on YouTube. I'm going to show you my first project, early work. It's coming out in September. And I'm also going to be having a screening of it in New York, and I'm also going to be doing other things, right? I'm New York based. I'm also going to just be doing so many exciting things, which brings me to my next point. I'm gonna be doing an MFA in film because I think that doing an MFA in film is going to give me the training wheels, and it's going to be like a training ground. And I see it like a singer has to take singing lessons, right? An actor takes acting lessons. A filmmaker takes film lessons, and I'm going to be learning from mentors, professors, my peers. I'm going to be getting assignments and stuff because I feel like that's going to help me become the director I need to be for my feature film. And that's going to help me become, yeah, the filmmaker I want to be by getting those training wheels on and really becoming immersed and learning technical skills and pushing myself to be uncomfortable. I feel drawn to directing and writing, producing, but I don't feel drawn to being a cinematographer or a gaffer, right? The person who does lighting, like that's not, to be discovered, to be determined. Maybe I do. Maybe I have a skill in something, and we find out. But we're gonna find out together. I really like editing as well. I edit my own videos. I do have an editor for my short film. He's one of my best friends ever. And I also have an amazing sound mixer and composer. So, yeah, super excited about that. Um, okay, let's talk about my feature film. Like, what is this idea? Let me tell you, it's called Victoria and Nolita. This is an idea that I've had since I was 15. When I was 15, the summer after my freshman year of high school, for context, I went to boarding school for high school. I have so much lore. So I was New York, born and raised, and then I went to a private preppy boarding school for high school in Massachusetts, in New England, right? Um, and I had this idea because I was just like daydreaming. I don't know. I was just like, I think I was bored that summer, so I was writing a lot. Yeah, I was. I was writing a lot. I had a secret WordPress blog. I never promoted it or shared it with anyone, but I just like had a blog that I would publish into the ether. Like I would publish, no one would read it, but I would share my updates. I would also write fan fiction on Wattpad. I was a Wattpad girly, so I was very creative that summer, uh, you know. And I was daydreaming, and I like just thought about these two girls who are in love. In one of my Wattpad stories, there was a queer like two girls dating. So I had a storyline of like two girls dating, and then I was realizing they liked each other, and then I was because it was like um one of my the TV shows that I wrote a fan fiction for. I made the character like another girl, and I made up a character for them to like each other. But anyway, and then I had this idea of two girls, Victoria and Nolita, who fall in love over a summer, and they work in a coffee shop. And this was before I became a barista. I think I manifested me becoming a barista. So yeah, I before I knew what a barista did, I didn't know what it was to work in coffee. I was 15. I didn't have a job yet. I was just daydreaming about two girls who meet in a coffee shop, and they are co-workers, and then they fall in love, and they have other friends, and they have like a cool artistic scene. One of the girls, I made her best friend a model, like an aspiring model in New York, and she had another friend who was a photographer. So I made like this kind of artsy friend group. One of the main characters is a writer. I made each character I feel like has a piece of me embedded in them, but I wasn't ready to write the story then. I mean, I wrote different chapters. Throughout high school, I wrote chapters because I was going to write it as a novel. My beginnings are as a writer. Like the root of who I am as an artist has always been a writer. And then I got into filmmaking a little bit later in my teenage years, but I was always interested in film, actually. I was always interested in when I was younger, I think I was very explorative of all artist forms. Like I did theater, I did dance, I did a lot of things, just like exploring my creative side. But anyway, throughout high school, I would write chapters of the book. And then, because it was going to be a book, and when I was younger, I had this, I wanted to be a teen author. I was like, I want to be a published teen author and like publish a book. It didn't happen, but I have the chapters there. And then this idea never left me. I still added on to it. I always daydreamed about it. And as I grew older, the idea became richer as well, because I think age and wisdom really helps, at least in my experience. Like, there's some story ideas that I have even now that I'm like, I can't really give it what it deserves until I'm in my 30s or like late 30s, because then I'll have that like knowledge of what it really feels like. So in the story, Victoria and Nolita, they just graduated high school. It's the summer after high school. And when I thought of this idea when I was 15, I didn't know what it was like to graduate high school. But then when I graduated high school, I was like, oh, that's how that feels. And they gave me more insight. And then I wrote it as a novel again in 2023. I was like, okay, I wrote a novel. Like, I wrote it by hand in a notebook, and the pages are all filled, like the entire novel of Victoria and Nolita. But then that that's why I got into film. I realized is because as much as I love writing and I think Victoria and Nolita could be strong as a novel, it's not enough for me. Like, I need to see it in 3D. I need to see it visually. Like, for example, with my short film, even I wrote, it's based on a fan fiction I wrote when I was a teenager about a vampire love series, like a vampire romance series I loved as a kid. And then my upcoming short film, What Would Happen If She Didn't Get Turned Into a Vampire, that is based on writing, but I wanted to see it. I want to see it like I want to see it in 3D. I want to see it come to life. So I've always been very visual. Like, I want to see it, and I'm visually inclined. So that's why I'm a filmmaker. And yeah, I wrote the novel, and I was like, this isn't enough. I want to see it. Like, I want to see this. And then so I started writing. I wrote the full script. I wrote my first draft of the script last summer in 2024. The whole summer, I was just writing the script. I wrote it by hand first, entirely by hand, because I took a writing workshop last summer in 2024, and the instructor recommended that we write our first draft, like the rough draft of a script, by hand. So I did that, and then I wrote it out. I typed it all out. So that was my first draft. Then I did a second draft and I typed it all out. So by the end of that summer, I had two drafts of Victoria and Olita, the written one by hand, handwritten, and then I had it typed out in a screenwriting software. And then I put it aside. I put it in a drawer. I was like, I need to like take time away from it. And then I wrote and directed my short film in the fall of 2024. That was like entirely about my short film. I was writing it, working on several drafts with my collaborators. I was shooting, right? I was filming. I was planning, I was like doing pre-production, and then I shot the short film on 3 separate days. One day in October, 2 days in December, and then I revisited Victoria and Nolita in January of 2025 for the third draft. So I wrote out the third draft, and now I'm on my fourth draft. I'm like in the middle of the fourth draft. So we're still working through drafts, and I have no doubt that when I do the MFA program, and there's definitely going to be a screenwriting class in there, I'm gonna learn, right, and like be able to apply those lessons to Victoria and Olita. Also, the MFA program that I'm doing makes us do a short thesis film at the end of the 2 years, because it's a 2 year program. So I'm gonna make my thesis film the Victoria and Nolita proof of concept. I have a mastermind plan. So that's gonna be the proof of concept. Like, proof of concept in film is like a short film that kind of shows you a taste of what the feature film is gonna be. So that's what I'm gonna do for my thesis film when I start my MFA. I start my MFA at the end of August, so kind of soon. Anyway, I think this video has been, um, well, I could go on and talk about this for a long time, but I have to go. I'm realizing it's been 20 minutes, and yeah, I have to go to work. So thank you so much for tuning in and being part of this journey. This is just the beginning. I will talk to you in the next video, and I'll keep like expanding on this. Like there's phases. So Victoria and Nolita proof of concept short film, I'm gonna shoot it summer 2026, and then it's gonna go on festival run. We're gonna try to get those grants, raise the money somehow, because this is indie. This is independent filmmaking. So I have to figure out how that's gonna come about. Well, I don't have to figure it out. I leave that to God. Um, and I do my part, and I know that God will handle the other side, right? And it's gonna work out, and I'm gonna bring you along with me, and we're gonna see what happens. So stay tuned. And then I'm gonna, go on festival run for a year, raise the money, and then in 2028 in the summer, it's gonna be low budget in the indie feature, like low budget, and then we'll shoot it in like August 2028, I think. So I'll like I said, keep you posted. I'll bring you along the journey as I flesh out the story and as I learn more about my craft and the MFA program that I'm going to be doing as a film student. So you're definitely going to see some film student content. So get excited, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. Talk to you in the next video.